Craig. Oh my God. We have not seen Craig in forever. Is Craig?
How we doing?
It's flicking green.
Yo, nobody.
What's going on?
Nothing much.
We're just plotting how to kill Mason off because we're not staying tonight.
Oh, thank God.
Well, I didn't think he was coming at all, so there was already a staking plan, but things is here.
I'm going to be here for like 30 minutes or an hour, so sorry.
Which is it, 30 minutes or an hour? We need to know whether we can get away with this murder or not.
Oh my God.
Yeah, come on. We need to know exactly when the stake needs to strike your heart.
Because I might be leaving at 18:30 or I might be leaving at 1900 PST.
So 30 minutes of torpor, or well, we'll figure it out. We'll play it by ear.
Just opens the door.
Just always have somebody with a stake in hand prepared to strike its heart.
That is actually not all that hard, considering where you guys are. Now, I'm not sure if you guys had the opportunity to look over the map or to take a quick look at where you last were. Did anyone?
No, unfortunately. Fuck.
All right.
Nickel stuck in my computer.
Wait, England? No, that's the fall of London. That's starting next Tuesday.
What? There we go. I got the nickel out.
I guess that was me this time. I guess I cut out. That's interesting.
Well, that's the beauty of technology. It will fail you when the moment you begin to count on it. And I'm all but set, just waiting on Marcus to get back over here. I believe he's waiting on the Unwecaster. But because Craig is not acting a complete and total ass this week, we will be with Craig, unless, of course, it fails on us, hopefully. Knock on wood. Where's my head? It will not. Quick pause for the cause. I need to grab a drink. And if everyone is amenable, we can dive right in once Marcus shows
Are
up.
we gonna try to trust Craig today?
Yeah, he worked out pretty well on Wednesday, so hopefully, the bugs have been ironed out between Craig and Discord. I know that the creator of Craig is done beta testing on Wecaster. Most of the error reports have gone back, and there have been some plugins. But because of the natural feedback of it pulling all of the sound from each individual area, I would like to try to stick with Craig as long as possible until Discord decides, well, being as he's creating a pay-to-win version, that they have had enough of him. But all the same, one quick second, let me grab a quick drink, and I'll be right back.
So, who's ready to have a winding adventure that is probably going to end up with us up against the wall, barely being able to survive and barely pulling a win out of our ass? Anyone?
I mean, I only watched the ending half of the last episode, so I think I'm missing some important nuances with what we're about to.
No, the ending part is all that you need to know about.
Oh, there's no nuance.
Also,
Okay. It doesn't do nuance.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's no nuance. It's just our ass is about to get wrecked.
We're gonna try to let Mason talk his way in, and Leonti's with him. I'm invisible, and there's an owl on the roof.
there's an owl on the roof. There's an owl.
And the other bad guys live less than a block away in two directions, and there's open abandoned lots in all directions.
So basically, no cover.
Yeah, my least favorite thing.
Yeah, there was no plan A. We went straight to plan B.
All right, folks. Drinks have been
I thought that was
accomplished.
plan C.
Drinks have been accomplished. Incense is slowly burning. We're doing a repeat of Sage and Rose. It worked out pretty well on Wednesday, and the coterie lucked out. They had a bit of luck because of it, so hopefully that continues over. Before we dive in, are there any questions, suggestions, hypotheses, or corners we need to round off?
Can we retcon being here and go to a different location?
I vote for that one.
Me too. I vote yay for that.
In this place.
Any nays?
Well, the other two locations are within walking distance, so I don't think we have to retcon. We can just turn left.
We can. I already knocked.
Yes, you did.
We can abort a knock. We can just say we got to the wrong house, and this is
Yeah.
Yes,
We
yes.
just pretend to be missionaries. Like, oh, sorry.
Well, there's
We
always
must
plan
have gone
C.
to the
We
wrong-
light the building on fire and shoot them as they come out.
And he's in.
Well,
Okay, where do we get the insinuaries? Insinuaries. Is that with you?
Leonetti's chest, depending if he hits the right area and the warding that's already been put in place fails. But other than that, the van actually is an incendiary device, nothing like strapping yourself to a combustible engine and something going wrong. So there's incendiaries not that far from anywhere that you guys are. As far as retconning your actions, you can always change in the midst or adapt on the fly. In a different reality, slightly removed from this one, but laying right next to it, you all did go to another of the locations. You all did have an ulterior plan, and you did show up with having done reconnaissance. However, in this one,
Sorry.
however,
I'm going to go yell at the dogs for a second.
no worries. You guys are approaching the church. Mason's already knocked. Leonetti is acting the tall, quiet harbinger of death that he is. His all too visible sniper rifle, is it on his back or is it in the van?
On his back. It's on his back. He's not putting it out. It's just there.
So very much the barbarian walking into the tavern with all eyes turning towards him, bristling with weapons and bearing scars of his most recent kill, with the head of the war god hanging from his belt along with his wild wolf. In other words, yes, the threat is more than apparent. The thing with
come in like maybe I should have gone in less armed.
Big Dog has figured out she can jump high enough to see over the wall.
well, vision is key. But
That's something for next time. But okay.
all right. Any other questions?
Well, I have an idea of how to get Mason out of the scene.
Don't tell me you're going to go use the Thor Loki get help routine with Leonetti, are you?
No, since is Griswold with us or no?
Yeah,
Yes.
I am.
Okay.
Yes, he is.
You're part of the conversation I'm missing?
Assuming that I don't disconnect again. I don't know why I'm getting all these weird spikes, but yeah.
I love the timing of that. It's just like I don't know where I'm getting all these
Oh.
spikes. Leaves.
Oh wait.
Perfect.
I mean, I did move, so that could be contributing to it. I don't know.
Oh no, that wasn't you. That was nobody.
Nobody left.
Oh.
All right. It was.
I had everybody muted from the settings when we were using the WeCast. Sorry about that.
Lol.
All right. So, can anyone hear me? I just had the strangest of things
Yeah.
happen. Discord shut down on me and started right back up all of it in its own
All
accord.
that's
Yeah, that's what happened to me, except it happened twice in the past 5 minutes, so I hope it's not contagious.
Yeah.
So definitely do I. But while we have Discord, while we have each other, with no further questions, I want to thank you guys for being here. I just did a quick vacation with the family, managed to get back and immediately bombarded at work, but I knew that I had Wednesday and I had today to get away from all the cares in my life for a split second, and I want to thank you all for sharing with me. For the record, this is, without a doubt, officially Steelheart's Rusted Souls, Season 2, Episode 9, season finale. So your face mirrors your heart. When we last left our coterie, Ben had taken flight in her owl form, circling and scouting the rooftop of the church where you all are headed. Duma, resting by the van, finally awakened after a long winter's nap, watches as Marcus slips from the van, takes a step away, and is gone from sight. Mason and Leonetti, acting very much the boss and body man, approach the main door of the church, while Marcus, unbeknownst to all who may not have seen him disappear, slides along towards the rear entrance, scouting and reconnoitering, because as he screamed mentally, the idea of the exposure of which they were privy to was enough to cause even the frostiest of persons no small amount of fear. Less than 100 yards in either direction are the auxiliary, the assistive churches with full vantage points of both sky, building, and street. The van stands out because there is no other vehicle parked near at hand. The van stands out because at this late hour of the evening, everyone knows that there's one thing that you are never to do in Gary, and that's to stop moving. So as Mason knocks upon the door, the paper in his hand, the brightest of smiles on his face, the one thing that no one expects to happen does. The door swings open, and standing there is a mountain of a man, a bright reddish beard, blonde hair, and eyes beady and small, looking to stare right through the soul of a thing, with a smile plastered on his face as if it had been painted on or chiseled in by Picasso himself. "Welcome, brother. Come right in."
Okay.
Thank you kindly. We shall indeed partake in your generous offer. Come on, fellas. Let's head in, right?
Excellent. Right this way. We've been expecting you. And as quiet as the street is, there's no way that neither Ben nor Marcus could not help but hear that welcome. We do, gentlemen. We do.
You got real quiet there.
Yeah, you did.
Well, you know what they say. Speak softly, carry a big microphone. What do we do? What do we do?
Yes, I have heard that saying many times.
Have you ever seen an owl look startled? Because that's what happens.
I do. I have seen. Woo! What's that? Okay, sorry. Sam, good job.
Marcus redoubles his efforts to try to find another entrance that works.
Oh, they all work, unfortunately. Because Marcus is standing, and while Mason and Leonti and Duma urging everyone forward, Mason stuck in a moment because he's torn. There's never been anyone who's actually expected him and greeted him with such warmth. Of all of those they've associated with over the last few weeks, the last thing expected was some semblance of hospitality. No matter how fake, no matter how real, the fact that it is there is startling and a bit troubling. While at the back of the church, Marcus begins frantically checking the security. And as he's looking for a window, a ledge to purchase upon to maybe climb to one of the upper rafters, the door opens. Two men dressed as one would when working in filth, jeans and steel-toed boots, hands looking as if they have been swollen and engorged with all the life's pain, coated in several layers of dust and dried on formerly wet muck. They exit a huge, relatively so, 3 by 4 foot box, battered and bruised, scuffed and scarred between them as the lead gentleman backs out. And there's a grunting and straining of exertions. While on the roof, Ben in owl form, watching all of this, listening to all of this, the added peripheral vision of her owl form, instead of helping discern danger and threat and picking up prey, is beset by the full flooded information that the church directly east, all of its lights begin to dim and flicker and then go off. And the church directly south by southeast, its chimney begins smoking. A dark, ominous smoke that looks very much it looks very much as if it is the deciding smoke for the new pope. And the decision being there is none. Issues from its chimneys. So, in alphabetical order, starting with Ben, what is it that we do?
I'm gonna leave the rooftop that I'm at and fly closer to the one where all the lights are going off, just to see if they start leaving and coming towards the church we're in, or that the rest of the group is in.
Okay, so the owl form of Ben, which is as large as a small coyote, takes flight into the cloudless night sky. And as Ben takes off, it is hard for those of you on the ground to not hear the flap of those huge wings, those hunter's wings, as Ben takes to the sky. Dr. Duman, do you respond to the flap of wings of prey above your head, or do you continue trying to partake of the hospitality offered?
I will definitely ignore the flapping of any kind of wings, regardless of how loud they are. It's just a bird of prey flying around. It's not a big deal. The thing in front of Duma is much more important. And he's trying to play the part of, I'm assuming we're still doing the real estate scheme, even if it's maybe unexpectedly going to fall apart. So he's focused on that.
Okay, wait, what was the plan again? I'm sorry,
Well, it was in text RP. I don't know if that was officiated or if that's just something we were just making up. But
no, I think that might have been it. But
as I recall, the plan was just we were going to pretend to be buying this building with a large sum of money, and that I was going to be some kind of real estate agent or something adjacent. I thought that's what was going on, but it could be totally different. That's just...
No, let's keep on going with that. That's the plan we have. We don't have any other plan right now. That's all we got. So let's just keep on rolling with that.
Okay, sure.
Oh, brothers, right this way. And right in front of you all, as you all step in and Mason freezes, there is a blur of attack that you all were not expecting for someone this large to move so quickly. His hand flashes out and Mason falls forward. The all too previously hidden by the size of his hands and the girth of his body, stake rests dead center. I know this seems harsh, but Marion has placed an order to keep this one safe. Would you all be so kind as to help me to ensure his comfortable rest?
Leonetti is like, what? You have 3 seconds to explain why he's passed out, or we.
Oh, the reason why he is passed out is really quite simple. It is the stake dead center of his heart. It is the stake that has been bespelled to seek his heart with all due haste. Now, we can engage in a minor bit of fisticuffs, or you can go for the gun there on your hip, and at which point he will not last the night. Please help me get him comfortable. There's a second part of the ritual necessary to keep him from slipping into that void.
Okay.
You know, I'm just going to interject here and just say, you know, I've only been with you blokes a short while now, and now this is the second sort of hostage situation I feel like I've stumbled into. Do you got some kind of curse you want to confide in me right now, or is this is an uncommon occurrence, right?
Yes.
Yes. No. I guess of the three major occurrences that I've been a part of, only 2 have now occurred in hostage.
Well, I suppose this is not going how I wanted it to go. I suppose we should comply instead of trying to be a bit adroit about it.
Yes, as I don't like it, my client is currently my top priority. So let us continue his safety. It's important.
As you all help ease Mason inside the church, he gently closes the door with the heel of his boot and motions towards the rearmost pew closest to you all. You should be comfortable here. We need to talk.
I mean, talking is when you've got a certain situation with good old Mason here. It kind of the apotheosis of talking. You know, is there any way you could make us a little more? You know, when you might get more interesting information out of us, if that's what you're into. If you could let us in on what's going on.
Well, there's a price on his head, of course. Though a price for his safety, so.
I'm interested. A price for his safety? If I remember correctly, I would have only have expected a price on his head.
Well, Marion can be quite convincing, and the Toreador of Dalton have an arrangement, so word was spread from across the border and from downstate, and, well, here we are. Here we are indeed.
I see.
Sid, would you all like a dram of something or another?
You seem like a cognoscenti of sorts. You got anything fine? And you know, this is a good opportunity, always supposed to be polite. You know, my name is Duma Greasewall, and we've got Leonetti over here. And you must be familiar with our guest of honor who's a bit unconscious at the moment. And partaker, what might I call you, perhaps?
Monsignor, Father, Daddy, if you're nice. But what we have is Vitae Sota, communion wine. It should be palatable enough for the bulk of us while we wait. There are others who are en route as we speak. They'll be here shortly.
I very much appreciate the gesture, but I have a policy of not drinking while on a job. Professional courtesy.
Professional, yes. Courtesy, no. It's quite rude to turn down hospitality, but I suspect as much from those of your ilk.
Yes. You could honestly understand my worry from my clan alone.
Leonetti doesn't speak for me. I will partake in your hospitality.
Excellent. And with that, he leaves you all with Mason's body as he disappears just behind the pew, the main pew, and the blah blah blah. Sorry, can't speak right now. Forgive me. Disappears behind the sepulchre to the back portion of the church, and you can hear him rummaging glasses and decanters, and all manner of things are moving as he moves from one cabinet to the next. There's drawers sliding and silverware, and all of the all too human noises one would suspect if someone was preparing a meal of some sort.
During this brief moment of reprieve, I'm going to ask Leonetti, do you got any ideas what we're going to do? Should we just book it?
No. Well, I would have to say, as Leonetti responds softly, well, I do have to say this is probably the record for the fastest time of a plane going to shits. We still need to be here. Mason is staked, and I do not and from prior experience, I am not the best when it comes to medicine. I do not. And I would prefer it if we could get that stake out of him and him back into shape. As he described, he has little time, and I do not take chances when it comes to my clients. So, if you have any ideas besides listening to this guy, I am open ears.
Well, I'm tempted to, because out of character, Duma has no skills in medicine, but he is like a charlatan, so he would probably offer to take the stake out with a very degree of confidence that he should not have. So, but I don't want to I don't want to distract with that right now because this.
If he does, he will first ask, do you have any actual experience with medicine? That's my first question. If you don't, please don't accidentally kill my clan. Your death will occur afterwards.
I appreciate those words. I do know a bit about the humours, and the phlegms and so forth, and the quintessences and taking things out. I've studied acupuncture, I think I could get it done. What's the worst that can happen? He's already dead. I don't have maybe the experience I need with Kindred, but I think it would work out. But I suppose there's not enough time to resuscitate him and get out of here. So we'll just move on from that idea.
And speaking of moving on, outside the back door, as the two men labor with their chest of sorts, what is it that Marcus is preparing or intending to do?
First, I want to assess which direction they're going and what they actually are.
They're moving almost in a straight line from the back door of the church, as if they've marked off some distance that the chest needs to be from the church itself.
Okay, and there isn't another vehicle. There's just our van, right?
Yep, your van is right out front.
And I'm the one with the keys, so they're not going there. And from everything I can tell, they are mortal. They're kind.
There doesn't seem to be any pallor to them, denoting kindred. Of course, you know that there are kindred who can masquerade as living with the best of them.
Okay, well, I'm going to hope for the best, and I'm going to follow these idiots. Because a 3x4 box coming out of this place could contain just about anything. And I'm intrigued.
And as you follow behind, you hear them counting off. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. They continue counting until they get to 20. When they get to 20, they stop walking. Turn laterally so that the box is almost directly perpendicular to the church. And they sit it down. Being as close as you are, you see that there's a string tied to the top portion of the box. That string looks like it's tied into an O-ring of sorts. Doesn't really make much sense. But as the box is set, they gather the string and begin trailing it out behind them. Not pulling on it, not exerting any pressure on it, just holding it, letting it slide between their fingers and to the right next to the church. And then do you walk with them or do you stay inspecting the box?
If they feel the need to have a little space between them and the box, so do I. So I'm going to walk away from the box, but not end up standing next to them, just like 10 meters north or south of the road, whichever one offers any amount of cover.
Moving laterally from the box, putting you guys in a rough pyramid between you, the box, and them at the church. They wait a second, squint, look toward the skies. Yeah, it's clear. Go ahead now. And they yank on the string, and it takes the both of them. You can see the muscles in their forearm and back straining as they pull. The box doesn't move. However, the O-ring does, causing the front panel of the box to break free. An ooze of sorts slides out of the box. The ooze is furry and moving, undulating as you see that this is in fact a rat king of sorts, though it's not rats exactly. It is a mixture of various rodentia tied by their own fur and tails to one another. When the undulating mass of furry rodents crawls and slides free of the box, still slick with whatever muck it had been soaked in, the scent of blood hits your nose. And from the nearby trees, which looked dark, like your average tree, there is the horrible screech of raptors. And what was previously thought to simply be a tree in shadow, you realize is if they were crows, it could be called a murder. However, as it's various large species of raptors, you're not exactly sure what the name of such a flock would be, but they take flight. And it is clear that they will feast and feed on these blood, or more accurately, vitae-soaked rodentia, and anything else that their heightened sense of sight denotes.
Well, that's upsetting on so many levels. Still being invisible to the humans, I'm going to move closer to them and watch their reaction to...
They're leaping back inside the church to prepare closing the door as quickly as possible. The carnage and mayhem that is going to beset that mass, that horrid mass of furry small bodies skittering and squealing in pain and fright, is not something they want to be privy to, because they know that raptors, much like all predators, until completely satiated, once they've begun feeding, will hunt until they reach that point.
Well, when I watch the humans start for their mass retreat, I take advantage and use blink and get past them.
There are some magic tricks that you never want to be the victim of. There's some magic you don't want to actually see. It's interesting intellectually, but for humans, having the after effect of a blur of wind and this speedy appearance out of nowhere of a relatively scrawny individual. Not scrawny because he's short, but scrawny because he's on the wafer side. He's on the thin side, and his hair is mussed, and he looks very much like you would imagine a movie hacker At least as far as they're concerned. As the door slams and Marcus appears before them, what the absolute fuck?
I draw my pistol and point it at them.
And as you draw your pistol and aim at the two clearly workmen, and their cries of shock echoes and reverberates off the wall, we are airborne with Ben as she closes in on the church with its lights blinking. And a portion of Ben's former life, all of those centuries of pain ago, in truth, has only been roughly 50 decades, well, 5 decades ago, when all of her life's pain and the suffering that she experienced during war beset her. However, it felt and feels like forever ago. Between her time with the coterie, between her loss of coterie members, between her experiences with Decibel, it is not a thing of recent memory, at least not emotionally. But a part of that training, a part of that past, a part of who she is at the core comes roaring back into her life, because as she gets closer, and even in her owl form with the mind of a predator foremost on her thoughts, the very real Morse code of the blinking lights hits her like a jab to the nose out of the middle of nowhere. It's a message. And with her past, she knows what it is. It's a mission start. Flying as she is, she doesn't really quite take in the other churches, but it's clear that the mission start being flashed in the light of the church and the smoke are part of a call and response signal between at least 2 of the churches. That makes no sense. These 2 churches shouldn't be able to see each other. The smoke, yes, but the lights, no. There's only one location of the 3 that could see the 2 others easily.
Well, crap. Now that she's kind of figured out what the blinking is and why, I think she's gonna land on the ground on the opposite side of the street from the blinking church, switch back to her human form, and then head back towards the middle church, because there's that feeling of, okay, that's the only church that can see both other churches. It's a problem.
There's a often tossed off aphorism, the feeling of something or someone walking over your grave. Ben has uttered it once or twice in the last few weeks and last few days. She's felt it more than once. And each time that it's happened, something magical, something unexperienced, some new and weird, fantastical moment has happened to her or her coterie, or in the case, as it usually is, both. And as Ben is moving across the open parking lot between the 2 churches, a terrible cacophonous screech of airborne predators reaches her ears. The sheer volume and the sudden movement of that extraordinarily dark cloud dipping and diving behind the church to which she is heading fills her with dread. Even in her large owl form, that is the sign of death, that many raptors, that many birds of prey in one area at one time. Yeah, it explains why in owl form she didn't see motion or movement of small rodentias. There aren't any cats in the area. There aren't any dogs. She didn't hear the sounds of pets in yards. And part of her understands why. That many raptors, it's literally like a horde of locusts and a full verdant field of vegetation. Moments, and it'd be decimated. A week, and it would seem as if it was a drought. And that is there in the air. What does she do? She knows what predators do. She knows what raptors do. And she knows that singly, or even two at a time, they wouldn't bother. But the way that they're moving, it is clear that they are in the middle of a feeding frenzy.
Reaches for her phone, staying far enough away to not catch the attention of the swarm.
She's in the open field. She already has. Once they finish eating whatever they're, she knows who's next.
Then she's going to put on all due speed and go crashing through the front door of the old church that Mason and them went into.
Okay, Teresa, kind of go ahead and roll your resolve plus strength. Your target DC, because it is a one-time hit, is actually 5. Do you have potence?
I have a blood potency of 1.
Oh no, I meant the discipline. Because that would add to
I
your
have fortitude
excellent.
instead of potence. Let me see. Okay, you said strength and potence, but I don't have potence.
No, strength and resolve.
Oh, strength and resolve. Okay.
Ben, in the moment, is turning herself into a wrecking ball, a cannonball, a breaching weapon. And that takes a lot of, because it is potentially wood or metal or God knows what, and she has every intention of driving herself through it as if she is a weapon.
I also have toughness, but I guess that's against other people, so. But, yeah, okay. Let me roll it. Oh. Nice.
She tucks her chin. She pours on the speed. She hears the screeching and the swooping growing far closer, faster than it should. Seems as if whatever they were sat upon was nowhere near enough to do more than tease and tantalize their hunger. They've begun taking flight into the area. It is clear that Ben has been seen and they are closing in. And we switch back to inside as Duma, Leonetti, your host, comes traipsing back through the sepulchre with a tray upon which there is a decanter of clearly mostly blood or vitae with a hint of wine and 2 additional glasses for the 3 of you. you all hear, "What the fuck?" coming from the opposite hallway from which he exited from the kitchen where your host prepared whatever it is on the tray in front of him. Just as he looks over his shoulder, careful to not tip the tray in his hands, the front door is exploded. It shatters. Millions of shards of wood go flying into the space as Ben comes rolling through as if she had been fired from a cannon.
Well, Leonetti looks over, sees it's Ben, shrugs, saying, "Okay, that makes sense." Looks over and says, "How about you tell us what's going on before problems for your health start to rise?"
She runs in yelling about giant swarm of angry birds.
Yeah, Leonetti still says that to the main guy, to the guy who's holding the drinks.
What a chorus-setting entrance there, Ben. Very good. I'm a bit at a loss just now. We were just about to settle down and have something to drink, it looks like, and now we've got this ruckus. Are we... I don't even know where to begin with this. Are we under attack here, or is this a lawful get-together? Can we get on the same page on this already?
Behind the explosion of wood and the exchanging of words is a sound that triggers the lizard brain at the base of everyone's spine. There's no way that such a cacophonous sound should be anywhere in the urban landscape. It is the sound of far too many birds of prey. It is the sound of hunters run amok. It is the sound of death on wing, and the sheer volume of which is enough to even chill a cold, dead vampire's heart. While in the rear of the church, Marcus, your gun is drawn on these two men. You hear a commotion of significant volume and clear veracity, and the not quite loud, nowhere near soft conversation, words being uttered back and forth. What is it that you do, knowing that your back is facing that direction?
I don't believe I'm going to say this. And I say that out loud. Gentlemen, I apologize ahead of time. I never, ever wanted to be in a situation where I had to say this, but take me to your leader.
Excuse me?
Don't judge me.
Nigel's that way, and they point past you towards the sound of an explosion. They point you towards the commotion that you have heard behind you towards the front of the church. It is clear that whatever has been fallen has actually clearly gotten out of hand, even more so than Marcus having to draw a weapon to workmen.
Yeah, it's never a good sign when Marcus has the gun. Okay, you guys need to run away.
Nah, we're better in here with you with the guns. Those things, I shut up. No, those things, we saw them pick a cow clean.
Upstairs or downstairs? Take your pick. Because if you leave it up to me, I'm kicking the door open again.
They immediately sized up into what looks initially like about the size of a supply closet, but you realize that those are the stairs leading down to the basement.
Is there a lock on this side of that door?
Not at all.
Damn. I was hoping. But I pushed something in front of it, so if they open the door, it'll at least make a noise.
And as you're doing that in the front of the church, as you all are discussing, and your host is looking between you and the commotion behind him, and the fact that the doors had exploded in. He drops the tray and turns to run into the kitchen as the sound of birds of prey run amok, having grown far too close, begin floating in as if there is a blizzard of feather and red latte-soaked eyes and claws strong enough to rend flesh.
I'm in a separate room, but I still hear the birds get in, right?
Yes, you hear the screeching and cries of a hunt and the flapping of hundreds of pairs of wings.
Fuck.
I figure go in the order of proximity, so you three get to deal with them first.
Oh, of course. I am not good. This is my least fucking good. This is not my speciality. I'm very bad against large waves. Let's see now. I mean, getting out of there just seems the best situation, though I need to bring Mason with us because he will be torn to pieces. So yeah, I grab Mason quickly try to dash into the kitchen as well.
Okay.
Into the kitchen. Okay. Because these are small creatures, or how big are these birds of prey?
Wing to
Have you ever
wing.
seen a hawk?
Yeah. Well, they're just normal size then.
No. They are roughly the size of buzzards, but they are peregrine falcons, there are hawks, there are eagles, there are species of raptors that really don't belong in the area, but somehow have been trained as wild protectors. There are hundreds of them, and they are far larger than their species should allow, with wingspans topping out somewhere around 6.5 feet. But with the speed and agility of the peregrine falcon, with the speed and agility of eagles, with the speed and agility of hawks, and they are moving into the church because that is where potential dinner is served.
So the kitchen door, is it like a swinging door, or what kind of a door is it?
One that closes between you and them. Nigel's heading in that direction.
We need to follow them, and we need to go in there, and I think we need to hold the door shut. I mean, I don't know. Because I don't know. I think that's the only thing we can do. So I would definitely head towards the kitchen as well.
Yeah, that's where we're going. We're going in the kitchen, and we're going to slam the door shut between us and them, and I'm going to lean against the door with all I got.
Right, and I guess Duma could help, but I only have 2 in strength. But I could still help, I guess.
All right. So, Leonetti, your strength plus athletics -1 die, and your target number is 3. Ben, your dexterity and athletics, your DC is 3, unless of course anyone has celerity. Same thing for you, Duma, as this is all transpiring.
Okay, so
Sorry, what was that? It was Dex plus Athletics, did you say?
Yes, you guys are running without carrying anyone. And Nettie is picking up Mason's near torpid form.
So Yeah, I fail.
All right.
Pretty badly as well.
Yes. All right. Wait, you only have one in dexterity.
I have 0 in athletics and I have 1 in dex. That's my worst stat.
All right. So speed and grace and dodging is not Duma's thing.
No.
Ben, you and Nigel make it into the kitchen. You look at each other temporarily as you both slam the door shut before realizing that neither Mason, Leonetti, nor Duma are with you all. You hear the tearing of flesh, and yes, it is that loud and that vicious, and the outcome of 2 with their standard 2, that is 4 unhalved superficial health levels that you all receive as the claws and beaks tear at you all. It is only as they tear away with chunks of your dead flesh that the truth of what they may be settles in. Most animals, when attacking kindred, only do so to get away. They don't seek to hunt them unless, of course, they have been fed kindred vitae. Unless, of course, they've developed a taste for the dead, empowered blood and flesh of kindred. And these raptors tearing into you, their claws and beaks far sharper than normal living animals are. You all feel as if you have been cut and stabbed and punctured with diamond-edged weapons. Serrated diamond-edged weapons, which is in effect what is happening. These raptors, their claws and their beaks tearing, and they're swinging away with bits and bobs of flesh and striking deeply enough to cause even your cold, dead vitae to flow with some speed. And Mason.
Okay, so, what does superficial damage do?
Just hash off 4 health levels, but it's all superficial, so it's only 1 hash mark instead of the 2 for aggravated.
Okay, so I have only 1 health thing left that's not hashed. Got it. I don't know how to represent that.
If you look there,
right.
If you look there in the rolled dice here, you would use that emoji.
Yeah, okay. And the okay.
Marcus, you'd never heard Leonetti scream in pain. Even when you all were beset by fire and bullets and the SI's agents made their presence known, Leonetti didn't cry out in pain. You didn't cry out in pain, but that was because you didn't get hit. He did. Yet you hear the fuck coming from him with such regularity. It is as if he is facing a very old school, painful, medieval gauntlet. And you hear the and the screech of raptors inside the building. What is it that you do?
Is there a door separating me from the room they're in?
No, it's a long hall toward the front of the church. The stairs are to your left, which you slid a few buckets in front of.
Yeah, they're gonna be moved momentarily. I just turn my head down the long hallway because I don't see any birds yet. I just hear them so far.
Mm-hmm.
And scream, "I got a door downstairs over here!" And leading with the firearm, I take the buckets out of the way and open the door.
The lights are on. There are clearly candles burning, and you can hear the sound of, oh, fucking guy. Yeah, why don't you have any bars? I don't have any bars either. What the fuck is stopping the signal from going out? We need fucking help. Oh, God, oh, God, oh, God.
You guys might want to run away because my friends are about to be headed this direction, and
There's nowhere else to go. Someone blocked the door up to the kitchen.
of course they did. We'll work on that. Just hide.
They begin moving the boxes and cast off detritus from a church that has clearly not been in service for several holiday seasons and cower and shunt themselves behind the stack of boxes. You can still hear them, and most importantly, you can still smell them.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hold the door open for as long as I can and hope they heard me.
All right. Even or odd, by the way.
What, me? Even or odd?
Yes, sir.
I'll take odd because I am.
You were heard. You most assuredly were heard, but unfortunately, you weren't heard just by them.
Oh no, I didn't expect to be.
You have roughly one action before the hall begins to flood with those too smart and too deadly predators making their way down the hall. While in the kitchen, Nigel is shaking his head. Fuck. You were not supposed to break the door. Do you know that they will eat us alive? Well, in your case, dead.
Sounds like a you problem for creating them in the first fucking place.
How else do you expect us to keep all of those other busybody kindred out of the area? They're only released once a week. What idiot would bother to come into this area on tonight of all nights? We have already sent out missives. People know to stay away from this area.
Meh.
You are insufferable. Hold the door. And he moves away from the door and heads back to the cabinets. And you see that. Does Ben speak any language besides English?
Ben speaks Korean.
Oh no, it's not Korean. Unfortunately, it is a mix of Xhosa, Aramaic, Greek, Scottish Gaelic, and a slightly older language. And it is scrawled in blood across the various surfaces. Ben has not been privy to much, but it sounds very much like what those people were doing, what those Tremere were doing at the university, except for it seems to be the written version of that whatever language they were speaking, whatever languages they were speaking. And it is there scrawled. And he stepped into the space that is one of the few areas not covered in this writing and sits, crossing his legs and beginning to light the already burned down candles at the edges of that language around him.
Okay, so while he does that, I'm looking around for... We're in a kitchen, so I'm assuming there's like a giant pot lid or something like that. He's going to get a pot lid and a ladle and use them like a shield and a weapon.
Is she going back out the door?
Oh, yep, she's going to open the door and try to get her friends through it.
Hold the doors, I can do the spell, don't let them in. And as that's being said, Doom and Leonetti, these things will have every intentions of tearing as much flesh away and drinking as much with tea as possible until there's nothing left of you all. What is it that you do? having her.
Sorry,
Mhm.
what's the height of the ceiling in this room?
26 feet.
If I activate prowess and use soaring leap, how high could I go through the ceiling?
What is Duma's level of potence?
2.
So that is just under what 3 yards. That's 6 yards, which is 18 feet roughly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
You can leap
Okay,
18
yeah.
feet up.
Yeah, but that's not going to be enough to clear that then. So,
The floor is wood. He did hear Marcus call from down the opposite hallway.
the floor is wood. What is there a basement?
There probably is.
How about jumping 18 feet and then crashing vertically downward with enough force to send everyone down however far that goes? Is that legal?
Yes, it is. That is very
What
much
does everyone
legal.
think of that plan? What does everyone think of that plan? Does that sound like a plan we should execute?
It sounds good because the only thing that I can really do is throw a makeshift smoke bomb. Oh yeah, I have that. I throw a makeshift smoke bomb into and fire off a few with my gun. I know it's not going to be able to work. It's not going to be very useful, but that's really all you can do. Shoot, throw off the smoke bomb and shoot. So he does that.
So it sounds like we're going with my idea then. So you can do all that, and while you do that,
can do that all.
Yeah,
You also do that because it's going to be.
All right, that being the case, go ahead. Duma, go ahead and roll your strength plus brawl plus your potence. You need to give me at least 4 successes for one clear, clean break through the floor with enough force to drive a hole large enough for you all to immediately fall through. Or you can make 2 attempts and it'll take a little bit longer. And while that's happening, Leonetti, would you be so kind to go ahead and roll your dexterity and firearms?
I have a question.
Mhm.
If I were to say do a blood surge
Mhm.
could I do like a blood surge, or would I right now to increase my dex?
Yes, you could.
Okay, so I'm guessing that's a
Yep, 1 rouse. Your beast does not crawl closer to the surface, even it is bent towards every effort of saving you all. A combined effort of man and beast. Can you what?
I was just gonna say, do I need a rouse check for prowess? Because I think it, right?
Prowess, I did not believe needed a rouse check, but here, let me check. A quick. All right. Oh, actually, it does. I'm sorry. It does require a rouse check for prowess. And your beast does not grow closer to the surface. Bent as it is with your adrenaline and the efforts, the floor is cracked. However, the hole is not large enough for anyone to fall through, save perhaps your foot as it slams against the board, sending bits of it flying into the basement space. Marcus, behind you, you hear a crack as if the birds themselves are trying to tear through the floor. And while that's happening, Ben, you step out of the kitchen to see Duma leaping into the air and crashing down against the floor. As Leonetti looks as if he's out of some Matrix knockoff, maybe Equilibrium or one of the others that were ascendants to the throne of the hyper-focused bullet time, bullets flying moment. His shots going with all due accuracy into the birds, driving some of them into the floor. And what is it that you do?
Perplexed, but I'm using the pot lid to deflect any birds that try to fly into the back. Is Mason still there on the floor? Or
Oh yeah, he's being picked at like the worm that was not lucky enough to get out before the birds did. They are picking and scratching and clawing and taking chunks of him away.
Okay, so what she's gonna do is, like I said, use the pot lid as like a shield or a battering ram and smack them away and try to grab Mason and pull him back through.
Okay, would you be so kind as go ahead and roll your strength plus athletics? And while that's happening, Marcus, you hear the commotion. Dulled puff of a smoke grenade going off. You smell the odious pre-prepared gaseous smoke that you prepared, and you know exactly which smoke grenade had been fired. And you begin to smell that noxious scent of oil that you used. And the birds are coming down the hall.
I don't
initially.
I see birds, right?
Yes. There are two red-eyed scouting as curious crows, their heads cocked as they're trying to decide exactly how best to open you up.
Well, that's not a happy thought. So I hear a smoke bomb. I hear a crashing of the floor. Probably feel a little bit of it. And the birds are making the corner, and they definitely see me.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to fire a couple bullets down the hallway, and then I'm going to close the door.
Would you be so kind to go ahead and fire from hip, dexterity, and athletics? And then we're going to circle right back around because Ben is managing to be far more successful than they expected. She's pulling their prey from them. They're easy to get to prey. That's going to anger them. Oh, you just tied with their... That is not a good thing. You fire off your shots, winging and grazing them, causing... And pain means blood, and blood means attention. The two that were walking down the hall take flight as they attract the attention of roughly 4 to 5 of their brethren and sisters, the sorority of death that is the flock of Vitae-fed Gould raptors. As you duck back in the door, you feel the strength of their attack as they hit the door, and it feels as if it is a police team on the outside trying to get in. While in the front, covered in dust and smoke across the top of the top portion of the room, Duma leaps above the smoky cloud cover, crashing down into the floor. Would you go ahead and make your strength plus, for me, please, with your potence? And while that's happening, Ben, you are nearly to the kitchen, but you have their full attention as Leonti is dropping one and then the other and spinning to drop the next, managing to keep them off of him, but also garnering roughly a third of their attention.
Damn, that is difficult to do.
You were trained to kill things, and these things, despite their large size and their bloodthirsty nature, are in fact living. So your bullets are effective. You are dropping them. However, in your speed, in your alacrity, your skill, you click try. Reloading quickly, focusing, watching as Ben is fending them off with a ladle and the soup pot lid as they close on her and circle around you, flying through the smoke as if it is bothering them. A strange little fact from your early days as a child before death and more death settled in. Raptors are hunters of sight. They don't use their sense of smell as much as other predators. So they're not just fumes and the smoke, while minorly obscuring their actions, does not deter them.
Okay. So, luckily for Leonetti, he has rapid reflex, so his ability to reload comes almost second nature, as it's a free action.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that right now he yeah, I don't see very much that he can do else. Maybe shoot through the floor with something like his sniper, but that would take time that he might not have. I guess that he'll just keep on doing what he is doing, because that's the best he can do right now.
Okay. Ben, would you go ahead and roll your strength plus athletics as you're dragging Mason back toward the kitchen? Duma, you've already made your roll. Thank you so much for that. Marcus, as you hear them at the door, are you doing anything to keep them from breaking through?
Wait, do I need to roll it again? Because I had rolled it above.
Yeah.
Okay.
Marcus, as they're slamming into the doors, they're prevent them from breaking through the door. Because unfortunately, this is an interior door. The core of it is hollow.
Yeah, I assume that much. Well, the door is closed. They're going to break through it, whether I'm holding it or not. But they're going to have to break through it to do it. So I'm going to let the door fend for itself. Run downstairs and scream, "Hey morons, where's the kitchen door?"
And as they point past the boxes down a smaller little alcove, the unthinkable happens. The unaccounted for happen. The slamming of the floor above you and the clear sounds of combat as Leonetti fires for all that he is worth, dropping more and more of the raptors, creating things that besides you all that they can feed on, the floor falls away and Ben, Leonetti, Mason, and Duma come crashing down atop the boxes and debris of the church's basement. The men who huddled behind the boxes, while not quite buried in the wooden debris, are very close to it. The birds who were breaking through the door managed to do so just as the floor finally gives way. Ben, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your dexterity and athletics to land safely on your feet, or you can roll your strength and athletics to save Mason from falling further onto the stake that is in his chest. Duma, you have prowess, so there's no real need for you to roll your dexterity and athletics. You're automatically going to land on your feet. However, Leonti, with the floor falling away, would you try to roll and catch yourself, or you just take the fall?
For now, I'll try to roll and catch myself, because if I've distracted a lot of them,
you have 1 health, right?
Yeah.
Should I try to catch you? I could use a willpower to try. Is that possible?
Well, I'm gonna try to roll and see what I can do. Roll and try to run, try to get away, and try to lead some of these burbs away. So what should I roll? Dexterity and athletics, correct?
Yes, sir.
Oh damn.
What a
Holy
save indeed. As the floor falls away, you shunt and dodge towards the door out towards the street. Instinctually tucking and rolling, you can hear a crack and a snap as the collapsible, though still very large, sniper rifle on your back bends in a way that metal and wood should not. However, in the doing, you are up and on your feet as more than a few of the raptors did not swoop inside the church. You attract their attention with motion, one carrying what looks like a Rottweiler towards a better place to divest the dog of its innards, the other angrily picking at what's left of the dog's head as it flies. These are cruel and vicious things and need to be called off, but unfortunately, you all inside, having fallen into the basement, most of you all catching yourself, hear a fuck from upstairs in the kitchen as the door that was not held is open. The surprise and shock and the pain that they've received, the dead bird bodies that are part of Leonetti's mess, his training coming to bear to kill all things moving, having driven them further into a frenzy, more kindred fatigue, coating their beaks, their claws, and their talons. Beat to a frenzy, these flying piranha of the sky have gone mad with hunger, mad with having tasted the blood, having gone mad, and are now threatening their would-be creator, master.
Leonetti is still doing what he is trained, trying to kill as many of these birds as possible. Starting with the ones flying and going to him as he is shooting with one hand and as he's shooting them down.
Leonetti has his goal. Ben, Duma, Marcus, with these birds of prey, what are you guys doing? They're here for the flesh. Meat's back on the menu.
So Duma's all bloodied and chopped up from the first encounter, right? But he's fallen through the floor into the basement. and landed on his feet, right? And the birds of prey are falling down after him.
Yeah, the dead bodies of the birds have hit the floor, but unfortunately, those dead bodies were being picked over by their associates, and now their associates' meal ticket is laying in the basement floor with you all. Ben has managed to roll successfully and avoid the debris and the falling, and keeping Mason from impaling himself on something besides the stake in his chest, while standing on the stairway directly perpendicular to where you and Ben are. Marcus is on the stairs with two of the very large, very angry raptors tearing their way through the door behind him, just up the stairs.
I'm not good at running, so I think, and I already have prowess activated, and if they're distracted enough eating themselves to death, then I might as well attack the ones that have landed and trying to eat their fallen friends. I'm going to just use Brawl, just fist, and rip them to pieces to the closest things I can get out close to, stomp on them, pull them up from the carcasses. I didn't mean to be a jackanape, but this is the situation you put me in. Something like that. And that's what Dude was going to do, I guess.
Ben, Marcus.
Ben yells towards Marcus, how many are that way?
I moved towards the kitchen door. So I'm assuming now I'm hearing Nigel and birds on the other side of this door.
Yes, they're still leading up to the kitchen door, but yes, you'd be able to hear the attack commence. You'd be able to hear Ben ask how many are that way. And you'd hear Duma tearing into everything he can get his hands on. And the man crying in pain. Not like having the sky fall on you.
So the birds are going to be attracted to the living blood a little bit more than us, but not for long. Nigel looks like he's having his own problems. There's definitely birds in the kitchen now. We need to find something enclosed. And in response to, you said there's actually a bird trying to make its way through the door?
Yes, the door from the hallway in which you entered, down the stairs.
So the birds haven't figured out the kitchen door yet? The one I'm in?
No.
Good. But it's decidedly locked?
Yes, that was one of the things that Nigel did when he was preparing the Vitae trap for Leonti and Duma.
Of course he was. He fucking warlock. So it looks like it's all bad directions. We just got to pick one and go. And at which point, Marcus is going to put a couple rounds up through the hole in the ceiling just into the mass of birds that's up there. Hopefully give them more food that doesn't fight back.
So there are definitely birds in the kitchen now. Is that what we're saying?
Yes. I hear birds in the kitchen. I probably hear Nigel screaming.
So what I'm looking for is we're in a basement. Normally, in most basements, there is still kind of like the basement windows. The way out. There aren't any in this one.
No, it's a church basement. There. If you look there at the building on the map, there aren't any windows into the basement. It was designed to be as impregnable as possible.
Well, the best we can do is lock the door that you're trying to get in, and then anything that comes through the hole, kill it until there's no more birds.
Anybody got a lighter?
So, as Leonti runs into the night, the few birds out there following, the few raptors out there following him, attempting to kill the thing moving, the others feeding on the carcass of the dog, while there's still some floating off in the distance, moving further away because they have now had more time to feed than they normally have. And inside the church's basement, there is a feeding frenzy on the carcasses of the fallen. Trundling down the steps like drunken clowns are more raptors who decided to act very much like their Jurassic Park counterparts and come stalking into the area while Duma tears into everything he can get his hands on. Ben and Marcus dragging and Marcus firing into the open maw of the now collapsed floor where the others above are now descending, swooping and diving. Some pausing on the lip of the floor, looking down, trying to decide how best to get inside those things moving down there. Ben dragging Mason towards the kitchen alcove, as it is the smallest area to protect in this basement. And hearing Nigel above screaming and fighting and fending things off, there is a moment just before the dawn, when it is at its darkest, when the sky above seems filled with death, when the floor above is filled with descending raptors, where there is a surety that something and someone of the coterie will most assuredly die. There's no recourse left but death. Leonti, as you run and fire and try to draw attention, a powder blue Lincoln Continental limousine eases north along the street that you are on. The driver stops roughly 10 yards from you, opening the door, removing a compact MP5 and begins spraying God over your head as birds fall. More fall. Miss Marion would like to speak with you. And with that entreaties, it is 43 after the hour. We'll take a quick 10-minute here. I'll see you guys back at 53 after. All right, folks, how we doing?
Doing pretty good.
As I was
Hoping that I
saying,
don't die from a yandere, stalking a dude that is unconscious right now.
Oh, so you put that together. You know which Marion that
Really hope that she isn't Really hope that she's not at the yandere state of you've been around Mason longer than I have, that is a sin that can only be undone with your death. Because I very much doubt that I would survive such a situation.
All right. Is everyone else back? And now that Duma was switching to phone.
Yeah, I already did that. I think I figured out what's wrong with my computer, but I'm not going to mess with it right now.
Okay, so we're just waiting on Marcus and Ben.
I'm here.
Oh, hey. Hey there. Hey there, hi there, ho there. As happy as can be. The birds will peck your eyes and chew on the sinew of your knee.
Birds was the first horror movie I watched when I was a kid. I was like 5. I didn't go to the beach for like 2 years.
I can get that. It was not my first horror movie, but it was definitely something that stuck with me. There was a Piranha movie with William Shatner. There was Ben, and then them that roughly preceded them, but The Birds was definitely one of the more, because it was so slow paced in regards to what it was that it stuck with you a little bit longer. Well, at least with me.
Yeah, Hitchcock was good at building. So like the first hour wasn't so bad, but when things went wrong, they went completely wrong.
Well, I couldn't go and build slowly enough, and with Mason dropping out a little bit sooner, that upped the timetable of things. In regards to building the speed, the idea was to give you all the opportunity to really live with the fact of seeing this giant flock of birds, far larger than they should be, feeding on the Rat King that was still coated in the thick viscous vitae.
Yes. Sorry, that mental image is going to be with me for a minute.
But in light of speed and going for more jump scare, is everyone still okay?
As of right now? This very second? Doing okay. My last avenue of escape turns out to be a blender, but...
Well, you guys have backup, and you guys have annihilated roughly 2/3 of them. Between Leonetti turning into a silver gun Superman and Duma getting hands-on, Ben using the pot lid like Captain America's shield to fend off and protect Mason. You guys have done quite a lot of damage, so there are still quite a few carcasses. However, these beasties only get out one night, and instead of being curtailed and forced back into docility, they are feeding on the one person that can put an end to their frenzy. Well, attempting to feed on it.
I'm going to try to feel real bad about that. Nope. Can't do it. Okay, so me, Ben, and the unconscious Mason are crammed into the door portal alcove thing leading to the kitchen. And Leonetti is in the open, and Duma is kicking birds.
Pulling the wings off as if they were fly. He unfortunately has potence, so he's able to go mano a mano. But unfortunately, every opportunity to go mano a mano exposes his back and gives them opportunity to swarm.
Yeah, I'm thinking I should have used Shadow Cloak and just hidden in the basement, but I didn't think of that, so.
Alright, so let's just send a quick missive and see how Ben is making it. Will they be back yet?
Sorry, I'm cleaning paint off my fingers because I did a quick project while we were gone. So I'm back.
Okay. So when we last left our coterie, there is something viscerally scarring about watching birds eat. There's something worse knowing that what they eat were formerly living attackers, and what they are feeding on is every moment that Duma exposes himself by attacking one or two at a time, they swarm and attack him. Standing together, shoulder to shoulder, Ben and Marcus are able to shoot, swat, and otherwise keep them from further feeding on the stasis form of Mason. While outside, the sound of gunfire lets everyone know he's still on his feet, despite the odds against him doing so. Just as the swarm have decided on a all too effective course of action, instead of feeding on the fallen, kill everything that's still moving. And 4 swarm Duma, harassing him, tiring him out, or attempting to, while 4 using their claws to hold on to the side of the brick of the basement, peck and swarm and poke at the 2 kindred protecting Mason in the kitchen alcove. Nigel screams of pain stop. There's silence. Birds stare to the floor above them, and the swooping flap of feathers and wings ceases for a moment. Then you hear the chanting in a guttural Aramaic, in Gaelic, in Xhosa. And if you're not mistaken, demonic, if you were to place it as anything else. And the air is charged with ozone. And the bullets are still firing. You can still hear the report of gunfire. But it's coming from inside the church. And then the birds, the raptors, look to each other as if there's a telepathic message being passed from one to the other. And they fly up and out through a hole in the floor. Some carrying bits and pieces of their fallen comrade. Others carrying bits and pieces of the formerly living 2 workers that were roughly about 10 feet from where Duma was. Some of them chewing the dead fat of the flesh that they've stolen from Duma and Ben and Marcus and Mason. And then the kitchen door opens. Would you all be so kind as to bring Mason?
Marcus is still a little stunned that the birds kind of got up and went away.
Duma will consciously focus on the enduring the pain of having his arms and limbs and so forth pecked full of little or gaping holes, whatever they may be. He's going to rouse the blood to recover some of that superficial damage, and he's going to grit his teeth and look a little frustrated and maybe a little deranged, stomping on the remaining already thoroughly dead carcasses on the ground. He will acknowledge whoever's talking to them at that point.
Oh, come on now, sugar. If anybody meant y'all harm, it had already been. No.
I don't mean to be impertinent. He's a bit of a rude greeting. And I don't think Duma would recognize this person.
As you all head up the kitchen stairs into the space that is scrawled with thaumaturgical symbols and languages that you all don't immediately recognize, the candles having burned almost completely to nubs. Standing in that space is Leonetti, his gun still smoking. A tall, buxom redhead whose skin is pale and smooth enough that one would easily mistake her for some living work of art. On her arm is a gentleman who looks as if he had been carved out of obsidian. His driver's livery, spit spot and almost absolutely perfect. In his hands are 2 MP5s, while Nigel leans against the counter, rubbing the back of his neck, his bulk clearly showing that during his living days, man of extreme capability when it comes to violence. His knuckles still bearing the signs of that rough and tumble life.
Well, your need for Mason aside for just a moment, we have a need to speak with Nige.
Oh, now don't hold that against him. He got pat, everybody's got hot. Some of you all, and she looks at Nigel, literally from toe to head and back. Some of y'all are clearly in need of better caretaking, but all things being as they are, whatever you got to say to Nigel can wait. I think that we all should talk first.
Pretty sure you said if we were meant harm, that it would have already been done. What the fuck do you call all of that?
Well, that wasn't my doing. And if it was my intention to do something untoward, trust me, darling, it would have been done. But we're not here to bandy with potential threats and actual shame that such things were done to your clothing. Not that there's much there. But we need to talk.
Thanks.
You're welcome, darling.
So what you want to go on, clearing as they go, I suppose, and Duma struggles to control his frustration with how things seem to keep going, where he can't seem to hold any kind of control over the situation, and the slow drawl of this is really getting to him and irritating him. He sort of once he's up the stairs, he steps into the shadows a little bit, and the shadows, the oblivion kind of crawls a little bit against the edges of his outline, like something is like the air is disturbed.
Well, my, Mason suddenly made himself a few friends. Would you all be so kind as to help move him into the car right this way? We're gonna talk outside. These surroundings are less than proper for a polite conversation.
I guess I'll help you.
You are so kind. And with that, she lightly strokes Leonetti's jawline. Such a strong one. Silent too. Oh my goodness. And I thought that he had slid past that phase in his life. I'm glad to see that he has some taste. Now, as you all begin moving with her towards the waiting limousine, it is, in fact, a powdered blue Lincoln Continental stretch. The driver moves a pace of her, opening the door for you all.
Marcus is not taking his gun off Nigel.
Oh, now, there's no need. I'll make sure that you all have your private conversation, but let's talk. He can stay here. We don't need him for this, especially not for this. Now, Nigel, while we talk outside, would you be so kind as to wait here for us?
Yeah.
And as she speaks, that one small portion of a phrase, it is temporarily as if the air is not filled with the scent of blood and vitae, as if you are not in a place surrounded by the carnage of warfare. It's honestly as if you were suddenly in a dimly lit restaurant, your favorite meal before you. You've had a pleasant afternoon and evening, and the person across the table has eyes only for you. Only. And there's a twinkle to Nigel's eyes as he frowns and clearly understands something just transpired, but not quite sure what. Let's talk in the car.
Do I remember any of the things Mason has told me about Marion? Because I know he had shared with me when he first started hanging out with me some things.
Well, on camera, you guys really didn't say all that much. It would be up to you to enlighten me as to what sort of tales and exposition Mason shared. One of the things that thus far has seemed to be his MO was the mention of her was the most grating, problematic thing for.
Well, yeah, because there was one time on camera where he mentioned the abuse and then backed him up to the rest of the coterie about the abuse that he mentioned the sire doing to him. So I guess they wouldn't get into too much detail, but she would know enough to know that Mason did not want to go back to Marion at all, ever.
Yes.
So as they're walking towards the car, and pauses. Wait a minute. You do know he wants nothing to do with you, right?
He can want, but I'm sorry to say it so crashly. Children are disappointments more time than not, and that doesn't change because we no longer breathe on our own. His disappointment in his parentage, his disappointment in his past, and his clear exaggeration as to the catalyst for certain things aside, while I have taken great pains to ensure his continued existence, it seemed as if he had spent the time selling my name. Shame that.
Didn't abuse him.
Abuse? Are you serious? Is this what this
A heart attack.
child of mine has put forth into you all's head? Him receiving his freedom ahead of any semblance of schedule, him clearly not being ready to be out on his own, and yet I granted such a thing.
From you. He escaped, according to him. Nobody would need to escape if they enjoy being around the person that they're escaping from.
Darling, if he escaped, and he was hiding from me. Do you think I'd know where he was? If he was hiding from me and I was hounding his steps, would I know where he was? Would I have come to his and your rescue? Would I have sent my most successful of child here to assist him, to assist Silk in wrangling this, well, let's be perfectly honest, shithole from the brink of destruction? Now, I could be offended in my name being drugged through the nose. I should be. But instead, I will chalk it up to a misrecollection of moments, a misunderstanding of things, and his penchant for writing and creating fantasy. But I really would have liked to have a more pleasurable conversation. So let's pretend that he did not and you did not level such a odious charge against myself. After all, if there was such a thing, if there was such skeletons in a family's closet, it would not be anywhere near polite to air them out in public. But I can assure you, on my solemn word, that there has never been any semblance of abuse between us. Perhaps maybe some neglect, because I have clearly allowed him far too much leeway for far too long to spin such a yarn to tarnish my name. No wonder Silk has such a unresolved state of affairs with him. 'Tis a shame. All the thing. Edison, can you believe? Let's put such nastiness out of our minds for right now. There's some things that I need from you all, some understandings, so that she looks at Mason for the first time. What? Tell me that was not your all's doing.
No.
Motion towards the stake in his chest.
No, that was your friend.
Darling.
Was
the gentleman you left staring at a wall in the church.
It is so hard to find good help these days, but I assumed that the Tremere not having a real presence would have been better appointed. But I understand, I suppose I'll have to deal with that in due time. But in the meantime, and she slides into the limousine, let's sit in more comfortable, safe surroundings, and we need to get to know one another a little bit better before we move forward. Edison, would you be so kind as to make sure that Mason is propped up comfortably up front? Thank you, darling. Do you all get in?
Yes. And Leonetti talks to her saying, I'm sorry for the disgrace upon your name. I'm not here. I don't want to harbor ill intent to my employer's sire.
Oh, your employer, you are his body mate? I thought that there might have been something a little bit more friendly between. But all the same, for the record, for you all paying attention at home, I'm Marion. I am the person, unfortunately, responsible for Mason being today. I am also the sire of Segundus. I don't know if you all had the pleasure of meeting Mason's little sister. Well, adopted though she is. And you all are?
Out of character. That's the one that came with Mason when the agency was interrogating him, right?
That he called on Marion's old phone? Yes.
The one that died? Or is that someone else?
It very much does, and well, Leonetti would very much believe that she is dead. There's no proof of that one way or the other. Though he knows how successful and skilled the people who held him were.
I'm only asking if she was the one that came with Mason when he was getting interrogated that time.
Yeah, she's the one that he called.
Oh shit.
On accident.
Well, that is concerning. Leonetti looks to why do I keep on forgetting your name?
Marcus?
No, I keep on forgetting the lady.
Marion?
Marion. Leonetti looks up to Marion and says with a sign of sadness that he was unveiled. He says, unfortunately, I have seen the other Mason's adopted sister. Unfortunately, they were interrogated and she might have passed in the interrogation. I could not get her out of that. I was able to save Mason, but I was too late. That is my failure.
Her head drops, her chin resting against her chest. The quiet becomes its own presence in the space of limousine.
Ben looks at Leonetti. Are you sure that was who you saw? I mean, Mason didn't say anything about them having another person kidnapped when it was you two.
Well, it is a high possibility. I know that she was there. I know that she was in the situation. They might have not killed her, but the distraught of Mason and the skill of those that had captured, that had restrained them, does go to the side of lead. However, this is just my guess. What I believe may have happened. She still may be alive.
Are you fucking shitting me? I'm sorry. I ask your name and you tell me that my child may be dead, while my other misbegotten whelp is sitting with a stake in his chest at the hands of those hired to protect him. I just simply wanted a name so that I could properly address you all, and you present me with the worst news you possibly can for anyone with a heart. That my child might be dead, interrogated, let me guess, interrogated not by other kindred, but let me say a lupine, maybe a changeling, maybe, God forbid, the Second Inquisition even. And dead? Are you serious? You could not have begun with a little more tact, perhaps, maybe. Could you describe her? Beautiful, of course. Oh, well, that's funny. I believe that there may have been a beautiful young lady that was captured and interrogated and killed. But you work up towards that. You don't just spring that on someone. Where is your decency?
And
I was hoping to find good news.
Ben is looking anywhere but at Marion. And he's kind of like glancing at Marcus. And just the ludicrousness of the whole situation is like has her lips pressed together because there's a giggle building in her chest. And she is trying really hard not to because that's just going to set Marion off worse. But she's like looking anywhere but at Marion because, yeah, this is kind of crazy.
Marcus is unfortunately kind of agreeing with Marion. Like, there should have been a lead up to that little piece of information, but it's par for the course for us. So, he is really trying to channel his inner Ventrue right now and come up with something to say. And he looks, and he still has a pretty human face, so he can still look concerned without a lot of effort. It's like, we didn't mean to bring you this news in this way. We've been close friends with Mason for some time now and have been through serious trials. And as you may note, Mason was our only Toreador for most of our time together and had not had the opportunity to teach us tact. If what Leonetti says is correct and the young lady in question is who you think she is, our feelings for your loss are genuine and deep. But we had no part in the actual taking. Anytime Mason's asked for help, we've given it to him, and anytime we've asked for help, Mason has given it freely. We have nothing but respect and honor for him, and that's why we work so hard, even in this case, to try to keep him upright. Which at times, you have to admit, can be harder than it would seem. I myself am Marcus Farmer, recently made Magister among the Gary Tremere. And
so one of my child is dead. The other is staked by your people?
No.
And you
Nigel is not one of my people. We were sent here specifically to find him and put him down.
He's the criminal.
That's why I did not want to lose sight of him. There are powers within the Tremere that have assigned us to find him in cohorts that worked with a mindbender to force them out or put them under.
Well, you can do with him whatever you want. I just you say my child is dead. It may not be the truth. I'm hopeful that is not the case, because unlike this misbegotten whelp that is my lovely, Segundus was a sweet child. There's very little that she would have done to not help, to not assist, and her going missing is painful. It's more painful than Mason needing his privacy. It is more painful than when my own sire turned me out into the cruel world. Her loss is... No, I'm not going to give in to despair. Forgive me my outburst. Marcus, and the rest of you all, I don't have names, and otherwise I'll call you more specifically. It's only the polite thing to do. You tall drink of water, Mason's body man. I don't have your name, but I hope that in your tactless sense of honesty that you'll tell me true. Where did this happen? Where do you believe she might be?
Firstly, my name is Leonetti Bogdanvo. And it occurred. Okay, I know it was out on the highway in the. Where exactly was it? Who was driving would have known it. I'm just blanking.
It's actually south of Gary at the country club.
Okay, so it was south of Gary, near the country club. It was, if I remember correctly, it was an abandoned building, if I remember.
No, it was just empty.
No, it was an empty building near the country club. So it happened south of Gary at the country club. In the empty building. I don't remember which one, but I do know of the group that did it. I'll do my best to check the validity of my statements, and if I can find the truth of it, I will, as quickly as possible, relay it and do my best to avenge her death if it is true.
I am very hopeful that is a mistaken bit. She was not here for any other purpose than to help her older brother and our dear friend Silk sort this mess out between them and get this city right. Such a sweet child. I need that truth from you, Mr. Bogdanvo, as quickly as possible. It would mean so very much to me if you were able to get that information. I would be most thankful. I'll take your information in the moment, and I'll leave you all to sorting out Mr. Porter inside. I'm sorry to bring our meeting to such a abrupt closure, but there are things that I must deal with. That I don't think that that's the sort of thing that's fit for company, if you don't mind. I have a bit of grief to deal with. And she reaches into the side console and pulls out a business card for the Leonin Club. If you all be so kind as to take my number, give me a call within the next few days. I really need to. I'm sorry. You all have a nice night. I'll leave Mason to you all after Woodmore. Prone to any abusive tendencies.
Duma will take the business card and he will attempt to show proper etiquette by looking at it and not immediately disappearing it into a pocket. Thank you for your graciousness, he'll say a bit tersely. And to be united by hatred is a fragile alliance at best, so I suppose I hope that we can find some common ground in these days to come.
Forgive me for saying, but your accent is a little grate on my nerves, so forgive me for being indecent. And thank you for whatever kindness you've managed to show me. Y'all have a pleasant evening.
Marcus makes a quick retreat when he's excused. Thank you, Madam Marion. And heads back inside to make sure Nigel is still fucking dry.
Who all exits?
Leonetti exits because he definitely knows that he dropped something that he should not have so quickly, and is respectfully gives it a little small bow before leaving and preparing how to find out how his next moves on getting the information he needs to about the situation.
Ben?
Ben had never got all the way in the car, so she kind of was just standing close enough to hear everything and speak, but refused to get into the car. Now that everything's kind of close to an end, she is ready to turn around and go back into the church and handle what they need to handle. But seeing as how this kind of turned into a clusterfuck, and that the other two churches are standing, it is what it is.
Who follows Marcus back into the size bin?
I will, Duma will.
So everybody marches back inside, skirting around the hole in the middle of the floor, stepping over the wooden broken pieces of the door, the shattered pews, the fact that there are feathers of nearly every dark color spread across the floor, the bits and pieces of the raptors still left there, the destruction and carnage of warfare on one. And Nigel standing smiling in the kitchen, looking at the wall as if he is staring at the most beautiful, expressive modern work of art that he's ever seen. In that happy, joyous space of love's first blush. It's only as everyone amasses in the kitchen. Oh, you guys, where is she?
Don't worry, Nigel. She left you in our care.
Oh, she's gone. And the despondency in his face is, imagine if someone smacked a child. It looks as if his world has been crushed, as if he has been the victim of the most cruel of fates. And as the vitae-tinged tears well up at the corners of his eyes, there's a double sort of laughable sadness when looking at him amidst the wreck and ruin of the destruction at the hands of his pets, as the thaumaturgical symbols spread out from him as if he's at the center of a spider's web, as the candles which he used to help foment the ritual that was in place still smolder. And him looking like a defeated child.
Is there a machete on the wall anywhere?
What a specific question.
There's not a machete. It is not that sort of church, but there are utensils.
I mean, we're in a kitchen.
We got a you want to try with forks?
Oh, I mean, I'll take a large butcher knife if I can.
The road of our parting runs straight ahead, I'm afraid, Nigel.
What? What are you talking about?
I'm saying that the road of our parting runs straight ahead.
Are you serious? After all the blood that we shared?
Her kitchen knife.
Oh, that's easy enough to find. Is there in the knife block sitting there on the counter?
I mean, I could get you shillelagh if you prefer a shillelagh.
Leonetti takes aim and shoots this guy in the leg, right in his thigh.
Well, now
to keep him from running away.
And as he's dropping, I'm swinging for the neck with the knife.
All right. Well, being as he is still roughly in action behind you all, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about the outcome. Being shot from a standstill, the damage of the superficial, though it is, damage of the firearm at close range. The swing, what's Ben's strength?
It's her highest stat, so it is a 4.
Plus 2 from the knife, that's 6, plus the 3 from the 9mm, that's 9 superficial damage, leaving him at oof. He has 1 non-aggravated health level left. What are you doing? You don't care about your friend? Marcus, what are you doing with all of this happening? Duma, what are you doing with all this happening? With Leonetti having fired, driving to the floor, Ben following through with a knife stroke. What is it that Marcus and Duma?
Well,
Marcus,
it seems like... Oh, go ahead.
Marcus is staying with Mason's form and doing some rapid math. And he decides that they're doing the right thing.
And Duma?
Duma's surprised that the firearm goes off at the same time a knife is rapidly and dexterously being swung. The resulting almost cadaver. He sort of has a little bit of regret because the instinct in him is to interrogate this person for information. I don't think there's really anything useful but to just stand by and let it happen. He's saying, "What about your friend?" But what's there to be gained from trying to interrogate him at this point?
There's still life left in him, screaming and attempting to crawl away and summon his magic. He's muttering and screaming and what are you two doing?
Leonetti goes up to him, grabs him by his hair, and pistol whips him in the jaw.
Ben?
She wanted to take the head off, so she aims her boots at the back of his neck.
All right. So the gunshot hits. His leg goes out from underneath him. His bulk, his weight, his undead flesh, driving him into the ground, and Ben flashes her found blade across his neck. The damage is grievous, and it's clear that there is not much left of him as he begins to try to right himself and pull away. And he says, "What about your friend?" As Leonetti grabs him by the hair and swings his pistol across his jawline, sending teeth and the jaw itself out of place. Then follows through with a well-placed boot across the back of his neck, tearing what little bit of his neck is left free of his torso. There are lots of ways that humans die. Less so for Kindred. One of the surefire ways is decapitation. You all have never witnessed a more gruesome decapitation. It is literally as if they taken a gingerbread man made of flesh and ripped its head free of his torso. The shattered remnants of his jaw, 2.5 feet from where his body is still trying to move, as dead flesh doesn't have the same memory as human. The vitae, thick, rich, flowing down the torso, exiting from the head as the eyes sink in. The tongue immediately desiccates. The remnants of the hair that Leonetti is holding, falling away, aging instantaneously, easily as if it had been in the ground for the last 20 years. The muck and mire of Nigel ceases to be anything more than a slab of spoiled meat. And as Nigel Porter's life draws to its far too late close, Duma, Leonetti, there was a threat that he leveled against you all initially. And as the smoldering husk that was once the ambulatory corpse of Nigel Porter lies bouldering there in front of you, Mason's corpse begins to convulse in Marcus's.
Shit. Can we get the...
An insult to injury as Mason's corpse begins convulsing in Marcus's hand. There is a emanating from Leonetti's chest.
Ben knows that sound and yells, "Run!"
Leonetti runs the opposite way,
grabbing for Mason's body and booking.
while Leonetti, as I said, runs the other way to try to get...
Well, I'm going to say there's no way I can run, so I'm going to, at least, I'm going to go towards the giant hole that I created earlier in the basement and go down in there for cover.
Wait, maybe I should do that.
And Marcus?
Marcus Watch is with Mason, so when Ben shows up to grab, he assists. And I'm going to surge my celerity so I don't slow her down.
And as everyone begins to scatter with the dread, fear of what may befall them individually and as a group, with 1/3 of the mission accomplished far too quick, far ahead of any planned aspect that fate had in mind, we draw to a close. And I want to thank you all for a lovely session. Good night.
Damn, that was
Thank
quite a cliffhanger. And thank you for this. This was very...
Yeah, really.
Glad you guys enjoyed. look forward to seeing you guys for the epilogue. And yeah, we will continue some thoughts by post as to the situation and what has gotten us here. But yeah, I look forward to the next session. See you guys then. Take care.
See ya. Thank you. Bye.